Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another animation analysis. Today we have the 2-year anniversary Honkai Star Rail animation. This was voted on by the community. I was like, do you want me to get to this first or this other thing first, this other song? And of course, people wanted me to get to this and do a video on it. I'm honestly really excited for this one because I haven't seen much actual animation stuff from the HSR side of things. I've done a lot of Honkai stuff, obviously, but it's just not specifically Star Rail, so this might be a completely different look, a completely different team. I don't know, but I'm about to find out, so let's go!
2, 1.
Weird start. Ooh. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Are we gonna get a lineless animation? Oh, I love this style. I love it immediately. Okay, I thought we were gonna get like a lineless style, but clearly there's lines here. I still love the style. Oh man. I love how loose everything is. It's so fluid. Also kind of a bop. Not the focus today though. Oh, instruments. Oh, they didn't play the right thing on the drums. -1. I'm not actually that picky. Woo. The effects animation going hard though. Ooh, oh, I loved that. The like lines for a violin. That was sick. Whoa. We got some Newtonian shit up in here. Let's go. The progress of man. This is sick. I love the references. Just throwing everything scientific at the wall. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, this is so creative. Yeah, the director definitely had fun on this one. That had so many cool things, so many good references in there. Great animation style, really loose. It had plenty of life to it. Oh, I'm gonna have fun with this one. First up, I love all the references to the major space travel events here. For those who didn't notice or even realize, we've got in order Sputnik, Apollo 11, Soyuz, the Challenger, Starship 5, Long March 5, and what I'm pretty sure is Polaris Dawn, but that's pretty recent, so I'm actually very impressed by that. But finally, a use for my autistic special interest of space that I never get to utilize. This is purely a great visual thing though, not only because they were so lovingly recreated to the point that some of it might honestly be rotoscoped, but also just as a way to set the tone for the animation. If you didn't notice all of the ships and realize what they were, you can still tell that they're going for the subject of progress, and that works great given the context of the game as well as being for an anniversary. There just isn't much to discuss on the animation itself here, but just as a point of direction, it was a brilliant choice to start it there. This next point is something I actually haven't gotten the chance to talk about yet, and that's the power of double impacts. You can see here as this little rabbit dude stomps his foot down, that actually happens twice after it changes the angle, but both feet connect in both shots. Usually you just cut between one and have it land on the second one. This works really well here for two reasons. The first is the most obvious one in that it matches the accents in the music, which feel really good visually and works toward the animation principle of appeal, but the second is literally just impact. Doubling up on a contact shot is a classic way to showcase power and importance or presence. The most common application for this is actually things like punches, where they really want to sell the power of a hit. They'll show it from multiple angles, especially in anime. However, there aren't many use cases for it like this, where it's simply just to show presence or situational importance. It's actually a really nice thing to see, and like I said, in this use case, it isn't as common. There's a bunch of little character moments in the following shots, but just a quick shout out to this hinge-jawed goober in the background here. But I want to get on to the next shot because there's just so much happening here. Plenty of great background moments like the girl on the hoverplate thing crashing into the mascot and those two guys fighting by the car, but specifically whoever this diva is that we're following. Her animation is brilliant for how many frames are used. Her physicality actually reminds me a lot of Panty and Stocking by Studio Trigger and how snappy and quick it is. It has a very Gainax energy to it, if you know what I'm talking about. Her entire animation, once she begins to spin around to her final pose, is only 33 drawings. That might sound like a lot, but for how much she accomplishes in that time, it's basically nothing. Whoever handled this sequence did a perfect job balancing smear frames and exaggeration to get her to cover that much ground. Using that little detail next to her face to explain her aspirations so quickly and visually was a stroke of genius, and it makes you understand what her personality is right away. As far as characterization, it's probably the best shot in this whole project, and it's just so full of life and it keeps you invested. This shot with the two characters coming out of the train door is a beautiful example of hair animation, which I actually didn't expect to see in this project, but they put a lot of effort into it, and I'm just here for it. Especially on the guy's hair, I was really impressed there. The lighting was also beautiful, as are the expressions. Just to put this into perspective, by the way, both shots of these characters stepping out are the same number of drawings that prior segment on the street was. It's all animated on 2s, so one drawing every 2 frames, but in the time it took them to move that last character down the street, they took to really boil the beauty out of these two's expressions and lighting. Just pure bliss and excitement. I really love that each character showcased a different emotion here. That's like a constant throughout the project, but it's really evident here. The shot later on swapping between them is also really nice for that. Great matching and pacing there, but not really worth its own segment. And similar to the last section, here's a quick shout out to the cool abstractions going on in this sequence before getting into this beautiful shot of this character at a red carpet event of some sort. Also, the hair quality makes a comeback here as she flips her hair for the crowd. There's this really solid sense of weight and body to how it flows. The light compositing here is great. They really got the harsh edges of a camera flash down for this style. They flow through every character and even have lens flares for some extra spice, but mostly it's the light fall off that sells it for me here. Flashing lights aren't always an immediate thing in the eyes of a video camera. They can take a few frames to fully die off, and these frames of her with fading light make the scene feel so much more lively. The alternating edge and rim lights too, it just all sells this illusion of cameras from all angles. They even have some alternating in the bodyguard's faceplate. This is easily one of the best animated paparazzi sequences I've ever seen. I couldn't have asked for a better handling of that. And also just a quick thing here, but we're given this shot of this dude running at super speed, and it just has such efficient use of smears. The character has so many smears in every frame, but I especially love that the background just goes from a street to what looks like he teleported to another location before speeding up again. It's a super smooth speed ramp effect, and the smears make it feel so much more snappy and smooth. Too many artists are afraid to use smear frames these days. Please, use them. They're great.
Mr. Svara,
Throwing Rager.
But now off to the insane detail showcase in the second half. This will have so many things for me to talk about, so just give me a second here. But the detail work is endless with all of the equations floating around. Not that I'd be able to tell you at all if they're real, but I'd figure that they are given how extremely tight the focus on science has been in this project. But I especially love the details of the musicians playing abstract noise, kind of, instead of actual instruments. To me, this signifies a unity of arts and science, but it hasn't been fully realized yet. Especially given that it starts by showing the framework and hands drawing ideas, referencing Da Vinci, who's famous for his attempts to blend those two loves of his. is. Then it moves to Nikola Tesla, even referencing his electrified butterflies, which is a great detail, and yet another man who tried to master a blend of nature and science. But then we come to what is probably just a generalized reference of a man looking outward instead of a more local discovery like the sea below him. The core drive to expand and study what is just among us and what may be beyond us. This could be referencing a specific scientist, but I can't really place him based off the shown design. Then we come in contact with Newton discovering gravity with all the prior showcases orbiting him, and we get more shots of scientific masterworks. The Vitruvian Man, the heliocentric model of Copernicus, Jules Verne's Voyages Extraordinaires, Newton's cannon, and finally William Murdoch's Sun and Planet gear system, which was patented by James Watt and led to a significant progress in steam engine travel. We even get a peek at the Voyager Golden Record for a few seconds later. It all comes together in the end. All art, all science. I know this was more of a science history lesson than an animation segment, but hopefully you all learned something new here. Anytime I can flex my special interest is a good time for me. But back to the art, we're also graced with this beautiful sequence of the train zipping between worlds and bouncing around with another bit of Gynax trigger flair that I love. We also get some minor impact frames in there for some extra visual spice, though they're mostly palette swaps, not so much real impact frames, but that depends on how you look at it. The colors in this sequence are breathtaking and charge you straight through the spectacle of what I'm almost positive is a reference to 2001: A Space Odyssey before giving us one more look at the cast we've met before settling into these beautiful depictions of nebulas that almost look human in a way. So I'm left wondering if these are gods of some sort in the game and they're just visual depictions of that. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case, but damn. I mean, damn. There are so many details in this project that sparked my interest. I found it really hard to figure out which ones to pick focus on, but I think I did my best here. But I think that's all I've got to say on this one, so thank you all so very much for watching. I gotta say, I think my favorite part of that entire video is probably that one character walking down the street and kind of like talking to the camera. That was just too much fun. It really was. There was just so much in this. It was jam-packed with things. I couldn't help but talk about so many of them. And there's definitely stuff in there I didn't get to, but I got to as many as I could in a time that made sense. And hopefully all of you enjoyed this video as well. If you have anything else you want me to get to, like that other song that got outvoted for this to happen, then, you know, request whatever you want down below and I will do my best to get to it as always. But otherwise, if you just like this video and you want to follow me and support me for more stuff in the future, you know how to do all that. And I will see all of you in the next video. Goodbye!